You must come to a moment in your life when you look at yourself in the mirror and ask, is this all I'm meant to be? Am I living or just getting by? Am I part of the majority living an ordinary life? In that moment of self-examination, you need to ask yourself these questions. Am I living my days on repeat, calling it a life? Waking up tired, going through the motions, going to bed unfulfilled, and tomorrow, doing it all over again. Right now, in this very second, you're standing at a crossroads. On one path lies the ordinary, that safe, predictable, comfortable prison that 95% of humanity calls life. On the other path, the extraordinary, uncertain, demanding, terrifying, but alive with possibility. Here's the fact you keep downplaying, the truth you keep running from. You were not born into this world to merely exist. You weren't born to pay bills, scroll through social media, and watch others live the life you dream about. You were not born to be a spectator in your own life. You were born to be extraordinary. The question is, when will you stop making excuses? When will you stop pretending that mediocrity is enough? When will you unleash the locked potentials inside of you since day one? Let me tell you about two men. Both started in the same neighborhood, went to the same school, had the same opportunities. Today, one runs a Fortune 500 company. The other, he's still talking about what he could have done if only life had been fair. The difference between them isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's that one day, the first man heard what Socrates said 2,400 years ago. The unexamined life is not worth living. And he decided to examine everything: his habits, his excuses, his fears. You see, mediocrity isn't a punishment. It's a choice. Every morning, when your alarm goes off and you hit snooze, you're choosing ordinary. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you're building the walls of your own prison. Every time you decide to go with the flow, you are killing your dream of becoming extraordinary. Theodore Roosevelt, who transformed himself from a sickly child into one of America's most dynamic presidents, understood this deeply. He said, "Far better is it to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in a gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat." Listen to what he's really saying here. He's talking about you, the you that chooses comfort over challenge every single day. That gray twilight, that's your life right now. Not dark enough to force change, not bright enough to feel alive. You don't suffer much because you don't risk much. You don't enjoy much because you don't achieve much. You're living in perpetual mediocrity, too scared to fail, which means too scared to succeed. Roosevelt is telling you that even spectacular failure is superior to a life of nothing. At least when you fail greatly, you know you're alive. You learn, you grow, you have stories worth telling. But in that gray twilight, you're just slowly dying while pretending to live. That gray twilight, that's where most people live their entire lives. Comfortable enough not to change, uncomfortable enough to complain. They've accepted a contract with mediocrity, trading their potential for security, their dreams for a steady paycheck. But here's the brutal truth. Security is an illusion. The only real security in this world is your ability to perform, to adapt, to become more than you were yesterday. Everything else, it can be taken away in an instant. I need you to understand something crucial. The extraordinary life isn't free. Achieving your dreams has a price, and that price is paid in the currency of discomfort. Yes, discomfort. and the road to your desired life is filled with them. You must be comfortable with rejections, disappointments from friends and family. You must do what is unpopular, sound crazy at times. You must see nothing as impossible. There's an ancient story about Alexander the Great. When he was just 20 years old, he stood before his army, about to cross into Asia to conquer the Persian Empire. His generals warned him it was impossible. The Persians had more men, more resources, more everything. Alexander's response? There is nothing impossible to him who will try. By 30, he had created the largest empire the world had ever seen. But Alexander didn't become great by accident. From age 13, he was tutored by Aristotle, who taught him this principle. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Look at your daily choices. Really look at them. When everyone else is sleeping, are you working? When everyone else is partying, are you learning? When everyone else is making excuses, are you making progress? When everyone is complaining about the economy, are you strategizing how to win against it? Are you daring enough? Do you prioritize comfort and immediate gratification over discomfort and long-term rewards? Are you determined enough? Napoleon Bonaparte, who rose from a minor noble family to Emperor of France, lived by this code. The truest wisdom is a resolute determination. He understood that talent without dedication is just unrealized potential. Genius without discipline is merely an interesting conversation at a party. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school 3 times. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job for being unfit for TV. What separated them from the millions who faced similar rejections? They understood what Winston Churchill meant when he said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Achieving something significant out of life requires that you be different. You can't just go with the multitude. You must dare to be different. But here's what nobody tells you about being different. It's lonely. When you choose to be extraordinary, you're choosing to walk a path that most people won't understand. But remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation about your path to success. Be ready to walk alone. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who challenged everything society held sacred, wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself." Think about that. The privilege of owning yourself. Most people are owned by their fears, their debts, their environment, and their need for approval. They're so busy trying to fit in that they never discover what they could stand out for. Ralph Waldo Emerson captured this perfectly. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. In other words, rather than going with the norms, you go against it according to your convictions. When everyone zigs, you zag. When everyone follows the crowd, you follow your conviction. But let me be clear about something. Being different for the sake of being different is just another form of conformity. True extraordinariness comes from authentic pursuit of your highest potential. It's not about rebelling against others. It's about rebelling against your own mediocrity. Leonardo da Vinci, perhaps history's greatest genius, didn't paint the Mona Lisa to be different. He painted it because he was convinced and obsessed with the principle of perfection, with understanding light, shadow, and human emotion at a level nobody had attempted before. The result, one of the most valuable paintings in the world. To achieve an extraordinary life is to be focused, and not just focused on anything, but being laser focused on your convictions and shutting out noises around you. This has never been truer than now. In an age of infinite distractions, focus has become a superpower. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes. And we wonder why we can't achieve anything extraordinary. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, warned us 2,000 years ago. Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and seeks the old. The old truths are simple: deep work, sustained concentration, singular focus. These are the tools that built empires, created masterpieces, and changed the world. They remain true and effective till today. When Thomas Edison was developing the light bulb, he failed over 1,000 times. A reporter asked him how it felt to fail so much. Edison replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." But here's what most people don't know. Edison would lock himself in his laboratory for days at a time, sleeping only in short naps, completely absorbed in his work. He was laser-focused on his invention. This is what psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls flow, that state where time disappears, where you become one with your task, where your highest skills meet your greatest challenges, where nothing else around you matter but the goal. This is where extraordinary lives are created. But achieving this state requires something most people aren't willing to give: the elimination of the non-essential. As Bruce Lee said, it's not the daily increase, but daily decrease. Hack away at the unessential. Your focus is your future. Every time you say yes to a distraction, you're saying no to your dreams. Every notification you respond to is a vote for ordinary. The extraordinary protect their attention like their life depends on it, because it does. If you say yes to every invitation and request, then you are mostly saying no to yourself, your dreams, and convictions. Steve Jobs understood this at a cellular level. He said, "People think focus means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on. But that's not what it means at all. It means saying no to the 100 other good ideas. That means staying focused and remain committed to something, not everything." Let me destroy a myth right now. Overnight success. It doesn't exist. What looks like sudden breakthrough is the result of years of invisible preparation. Michelangelo spent 4 years on his back painting the Sistine Chapel. When asked about his genius, he replied, "If people knew how hard I worked to get my mastery, it wouldn't seem so wonderful at all." This is the paradox of excellence. It looks effortless precisely because of the effort invested. The Chinese bamboo tree spends 5 years underground, building its root system, before it suddenly shoots up 90 feet in 6 weeks. Those who don't understand the process call it a miracle. Those who do call it preparation. Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer who ever lived, said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." This is the choice before you. Suffer the pain of discipline now, or suffer the pain of regret later. There is no third option. The difference is that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, while the pain of regret weighs tons. Kobe Bryant called it the Mamba mentality, waking up at 4 a.m. to train while his competitors slept. By the time they started their day, he had already completed a full workout. Over a career, those extra hours compound into an insurmountable advantage. But dedication isn't just about time, it's about intensity. Vince Lombardi, the legendary football coach, put it this way: the quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor. Here's something that will change how you see everything. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago. Every cell in your body has been replaced. You are literally a different human being. The question is, are you a better one? Rumi, the 13th century poet and philosopher, wrote, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." Transformation isn't an event, it's a process. And that process begins with a decision, a moment when you draw a line in the sand and say, no more. No more excuses, no more delays, no more accepting less than you're capable of becoming, no more saying yes to every outing that steals your time, no more scrolling through social media watching others live, no more fearing failure more than you fear wasting your life, no more self-doubt telling you you're not ready, no more self-sabotage right before breakthrough, no more waiting for permission to be great, no more apologizing for your ambition, no more dimming your light to make others comfortable, no more choosing their approval over your purpose. But here's something you don't hear often. Transformation is violent. The caterpillar doesn't peacefully become a butterfly. It dissolves completely, becoming unrecognizable before emerging with wings. Your transformation will require you to destroy who you are to become who you're meant to be. Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist, understood this. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But becoming who you truly are means shedding who you're pretending to be. This is why most people never transform. They're too attached to their current identity, even if that identity is keeping them small. They'd rather be a successful caterpillar than risk becoming a butterfly. Martin Luther King Jr. faced this choice when he said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." Your transformation will be controversial. To your family, who wants you to stay the same. To your friends who feel threatened by your growth. To society that needs you to fit in its box. The question is, will you choose their comfort or your calling? Finally, I want you to understand something fundamental. Everything I've told you means nothing if you don't act on it. Knowledge without action is just sophisticated procrastination. Leonardo da Vinci said, "I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do." A University of Scranton survey found that only 8% of individuals successfully achieve their goals, while 92% do not. This suggests that a vast majority struggle to act on their intentions and knowledge. Are you going to be part of the 8% who acts on their intentions and convictions, or 92% who will just watch this video and continue with their usual ways of lives? This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Now. And I'm counting on you. And I know you are capable and different. How do I know? Because you're still here. You've listened to truths that most people would click away from. You've confronted realities that most people spend their lives avoiding. The path to extraordinary is clear. Choose discomfort over comfort. Choose focus over distraction. Choose dedication over convenience. Choose transformation over stagnation. Choose to stand out rather than fit in. This is your wake-up call, your clarion call, your battle cry. The ordinary life is crowded because it's convenient. The extraordinary life is waiting for you to claim it. The question is whether you will. The choice is yours. Remember, you weren't born to fit in. You were born to stand out. Choose wisely. Choose now. Choose extraordinary.